Hello everyone, welcome to the Readers by Amanpal. This is video number 2. This article is taken from the Hindu, date 21/03/2022. So let us go through the article. India's stand on Ukraine war is tragic. New Delhi cannot crawl for the goodwills of Russia but must at least condemn Moscow's aggression and illegal invasion. This article is written by Subramanian Swamy. As I earlier told you that this article is taken from the Hindu, so I hope you will learn something valuable from this article. It is from the editorial page I want to add here. So let's start. It is just under a month since Russia declares a unilaterally waged war on Ukraine on land and by air. What the world has witnessed is the unbridled destruction of democratic nation. Ukraine by heavily armed nuclear weapon power and veto holding permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, which is Russia. This UN status was obtained by Russia as an uncontested residual legatee of the Union of the Soviet Union, of which Russia and Ukraine were large part. Union of Soviet Socialist Republic USSR unveiled into 15 nations in 1988 to 91. Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Estonia, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, and Uzbekistan. Much resistance. The Ukrainians are resisting the Russian advance to adapt to capture the capital Kyiv by demonstrating sheer nationalist and courage, and with welcome support of the developed Western nation. Despite this status today, Russia is not fear its announced goal of conquering a large unarmed Ukraine. What must be painful to Russian President Vladimir Putin is that his military, despite the carpet bombing and disruption of civil facilities and over 4 weeks of batteries Ukraine and causing widespread destruction has not managed to capture any major city in Ukraine. Such is valiant fighter spirit of the peoples of Ukraine. The bare fact is that Ukraine, a recognized nation and a United Nations member state, has been invaded by a permanent member of Apex Security Council, violating the UN Charter. India cannot crawl for the goodwills of Russia, but at a very least, India must condemn Russia for its aggression and illegal invasion. Mr. Putin's content, constant reference that he was the denazification of Ukraine and that the Ukrainians are pro-Nazi is incredible since Ukraine embraced Nazi Germany in the 1940s to escape the genocide in Ukraine carried out by Joseph Stalin's Russia during the decade of 1930 to 40. Moreover, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky is a Jew and his father suffered much during Hitler's occupation of Ukraine. The ICJ's wrap. Another blow to the prestige of Russia has come from the International Court of Justice after hearing held recently. The Hague-based International Court of Justice (ICJ) directed Russia to halt the war immediately, stating that the ICJ is profoundly concerned by Moscow's use of force in violating of international law. The ICJ judges voted 13:2 in favor of ruling. The Indian judge of ICJ and a former Supreme Court of India judge, Justice Dalbir Bhandari, also voted against the despite the Narendra Modi's government votes for abstention on other international forums on the same issue. The Ministry of External Organization promptly disowned Justice Bhandari's vote, with a spokesperson saying that judge at the ICJ vote in their individual capacity. This is silly. A judge cannot be representative of government when sitting in a court. A damaging stance. The most deplorable example of human right at Roses in the 21st century, which is being carried out by Russian military, have also exposes the UN and the Security Council of their own ineffectiveness. Obviously, the UN needs a rescrating after its past of most 80 years of excellence and one of mostly happiness, helplessness. What is more tragic today is India's stand. India, despite its large geographical size and population, has refused to criticize, leave alone denounce Russia's 19th century type of warfare in Ukraine, especially since the Russian military is disrupting civil society and killing the innocent. Combined with the abstention vote at the UN, India, by its reticence to take a stand for democracy, has not only affected its relations with democratic nations of West, but also caused concernations amongst its Quad partners like United States, Australia, and Japan. India has become vulnerable to a possible massive military adventure by China and risks isolation by traditionally democratic nations and their help and their support. The non-democratic nations besides Russia such as China, North Korea and Venezuela are either already hostile towards India for other reasons or are unlikely to stand with India on the other international issues of India's public concern. Part of problem for India issue from the attempt to run with the hare and hunt with the hounds in foreign policy, thus the flip-flop on Afghanistan, Nepal, BRIC and Quad Iran and now on the Ukraine war launched by Russia have devalued India's reputation to level well below its military strike hard power and a huge population soft power. BRIC resolution, as already brought by this writer in an article in this daily titled Ukraine Situation, India National Interest in the BRICS meet in 2021 in New Delhi with the leaders of the five national present, which is India, China, Russia, South Africa, and Brazil. India had moved a resolution that was passed unanimously in its New Delhi Declaration, paragraph 2022 in the 13th BRICS Summit, September 9, 2021. The core demand in this resolution was that the five BRICS nations were opposed to unilateral use of force against any state, wanted all disputes resolved by peaceful means, and categorically ruled out of the of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. But India remained unflappable despite the political hypocrisy of Russia and China. Another blatant violation of an agreement between India and Ukraine has been brought out in the Hindu February 27, 2022 in an explainer when and how did Ukraine give up its nuclear arsenal when Ukraine won its independence from the then unraveling USSR in 1991. It had the world's third largest stock of nuclear weapon. Statistics made public showed that Ukraine has had about 1900 strategic nuclear warheads, so 176 ICBMs, and 44 long-distance strategic bomber. In 1994, Ukraine signed the Budapest Memorandum with Russia, the US, and the United Kingdom. According to the memorandum, these three veto holding permanent member of the UN, agreed to respect the independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and existence border of Ukraine. But Russia has now welched on this treaty committed since March 2014 when it annexed a part of Ukraine, which is Crimea. If India has to play a role in international affairs, leave alone hopes of being a Vishwaguru, the Narendra Modi government at the very least has a moral duty of restoring India's integral credibility. It must raise this Hitler like treating up of written agreements, not to mention the disregard for the 2021 BRIC resolution by Russia directly and China indirectly of the India proposed resolution. In fact, India's reputation on this issue is now mixing very adversely internationally. The Prime Minister, much touted label pinned on him by his admirers in India, has deemed in the context of US President Joe Biden calling Mr. Putin was criminal, India is ending up looking pitiable as if the government is under more extra political compulsion. The Indian nation, however, needs to know the truth. So this was all about the this article. Hope you have learned something valuable. This was here some of the stories of Ukraine is given and what should India do, what should India's stance should be in present also is given by the perspective of Subramanian Swamy. So thanks for the watching this video. Hope you will subscribe my channel.